All right, I'm going to discuss the whole two-parent household subject. It's been around for a while, and some of the questions I have: Did you grow up with both parents in the home, or was it just one? And how do you feel you came out of that situation as an adult now? Do you feel having both mom and dad help with you being a better, well-rounded adult in terms of how you carry yourself now and your education, where you're working at, and your income? Do you think having two parents really helped that situation, or did you have both parents, but it felt like, well, maybe mom could have done better, or dad could have done better, or does it feel like neither one of them really did what they needed to do? And in terms of if you grew up with just mom or just dad, do you feel that you still made it out okay? That you have everything you need, or do you wish that you would have had your mom there and not just dad, or your dad there and just not mom? There's still, more single mothers and single fathers, but it's single fathers out there too. And for those that were only raised by their dad for whatever reason, uh, do you feel you needed your mom's energy as well in terms of your development and being a whole well-rounded adult? Because the ideal situation is normally having father and mother. That's ideal. Can I say it's better? Not necessarily. I think overall, you may find people who had both mom and dad saying they turned out pretty much better in terms of the numbers, and where you talk to those who only had either just mom or just dad, maybe a smaller amount turned out being well-rounded adults. So I can't say it's just 100% better, because you have people coming from both mom and dad who still feel short. But I think everybody envisions having mom and dad, if they want to start their own family, as ideal. Uh, Even if the mother and father aren't together, you still have that whole co-parenting situation, which is healthy for the child because you get both masculine energy from dad and feminine energy from mom to balance out, your son, your daughter, or if you have both, however many kids you have. And then reading this down here, and you can see the graph above, it says from 2006 to 2020, the adults who said it's important that unmarried couples who had a kid together legally married, that fell 76% to 60, and this was especially pronounced among well-educated liberals, according to 2022 American Family Survey. Only 30% of college-educated liberals ages 18 to 55 said kids are better off if they have married parents, as did only 36% of American liberals without a college degree. And then by contrast, more than 70% of conservatives, especially college educated conservatives, took the view that marriage matters for children. Conservatives are normally people with Republican views, and the liberals are more Democratic. So you get the whole political angle here. Then going back up to this graph here from this City Journal website, uh, this is the percentages of who agree children are better off if they have both parents at home growing up from 2 years ago. See, 30% liberal college educated is 91% for Republican college educated, 36% for Democratic less educated, and 73% for Republican less educated. So I believe less educated just means only finished high school. But these are all the effects: marriage, college graduated for both mom and dad, where they feel having that formula helps the kids turn out better as adults and be productive members of society. But based on, where you came from, if you only had just mom, just dad, maybe you still turned out all right, versus some people who had both parents and they fell through the cracks for whatever reason. Like the parents were physically there, but everything else was just out the window. And I want to play this video about if two parents is really better than one. And YouTube, fair use for this video, fair use. I'm playing it now.
New research suggests broken homes may not be broken after all. Hey guys, Tara here for D News, and we've long been taught to believe that the nuclear family is the key to long-term happiness, but a new study says that may not be entirely true. A group of researchers from the UK analyzed data from over 12,000 7-year-old children and found that those living with a step-parent or a single parent were just as happy as those living with two biological parents. Researchers separated the children into 3 different groups: those living with 2 biological parents, those with 1 biological parent and 1 step-parent, and those living with a single biological parent. After adjusting for factors like social class and neighborhood affluence, researchers then asked the children to rate how happy they were by reporting that they were either happy all the time or happy sometimes or never. And the results were exactly the same for all 3 groups. 36% of children said they were happy all the time, and 64% said they were happy sometimes or never. And those numbers were the same across the board. They even repeated the study for older children ages 11 to 15, and the results were almost exactly the same. Jenny Shanfro, the lead scientist on the project, says the study proves it's not the family composition that matters, but the quality of the relationships at home. Factors like getting along with their siblings, having friends, having fun with the family, and not being bullied at school were all linked with a higher likelihood of being happy all the time. I'm sure this will come as a relief to some of you single parents out there, so if your child is unhappy, just remember, it's not all about you. And hey, while we're talking about kids, did you know that auto accidents are the #1 killer of US teens? It's a terrifying statistic, and that's why Toyota is taking part in the Toyota Teen Driver Video Challenge. A few weeks ago, they asked high school students to submit short videos that promote safe driving.
Okay, it goes somewhere else after that. And this is from a channel called Seeker. And you can see what they just said about two parents really better than one. You've basically was supporting people out here who may just be being raised by just one parent. And so, everyone has their own experience. That video kind of goes a little bit against the City Journal website, where it's just different people's opinions based on their political views on terms of if two parents is better than one. And so you see it in that video as well, where that one is pushing more towards, okay, it's okay if you only have just mom or just dad. But again, I think you ask anyone even who's doing the child raising by themselves, they would like to have that other parent there. I don't think any father wants to do this alone, nor does any mother want to do this alone. And everybody's situation has been unique about how you may feel in terms of having your mother and father or just one, and if you could have turned out better or if you think you're doing all right. And also to flip it, if you're a parent, is your child currently being raised by both parents, or is it just you? And how is that going? Do you feel you spend more money raising your child on your own? Would you really like extra help from the other parent? And if you came from a 2-parent household to now you have a 1-parent household where it's just you, are you able to see maybe somewhere where there was a breakdown to where you were raised by 2 parents but wasn't able to duplicate that situation with your own parental being a parent now, and just where something broke down with you and the other parent, so now you a single dad or a single mom doing this on your own? Or were you only raised with just one parent, and now in your situation you've turned it around and you're raising your child with both parents present, it's you and the other parent, mom and dad? And what do you think you've done differently versus how you grew up where you only had the one parent, and what did you change so now you got that solid family, mom, dad, and the child? And is it easier? Is it more of a relief? Are you able to save more money since you've got both parents helping with the child? Now, that doesn't mean you and the other parent are still together, but the co-parenting is solid. So this is not a new question or a new phenomenon that's been happening. It's just been an age-old question about the two-family household and versus the single-parent household. And you see a lot of different people, even people discussing it on the internet about which is better. Typically, you hear people lean towards the two-parent, especially. They talk so much more about having dad in the home with mom, since there's more mom in the home without the dad, and how children seem to be more disciplined when the dad is in the home versus when he's elsewhere. I still think deep down people do want the two parent, that whole bubble, if you're going to start a family. It doesn't mean that you can't raise a healthy child on your own, but I think men and women would prefer to have that other parent helping them out. It's just that type of situation that you get both sides of the coin, and you get advice for the child from a man's perspective and a woman's point of view, in terms of maybe why dad says no, mom says yes, based on what the situation is and how they're raising you. So it's just, balance, two-parent household. I can't say it's better, but I think that's ideal. That's what most people envision when they talking about, hey, I want kids. I don't think they look at, hey, I want to do this by myself. So it's definitely still an issue. You still see a lot of more so mothers than fathers raising the kids by themselves, and it's just something. If I don't know if it's been even a repeat situation where you were raised by just one parent, and now you're in a situation where you're the only parent doing the raising, and so now it's a generational thing where it's repeating. And how do we break that cycle to where we get two parents raising the child and not just one? So, how were you all raised? Like I said, with both parents or just one? And if you're a parent, is it just you doing the raising, or do you have the other parent involved? Let me know in the comments, and share your experience with it. Like, share, and subscribe. And I'm out until next time.